Names. A judge today released the names of lawmakers former Senator Shirley Huntley had recorded conversations with.
Huntley, who's accused of taking your tax dollars and using them to benefit her friends and family, is scheduled to be sentenced on corruption charges tomorrow. We recently learned from court papers that she wore a wire and made a recording of meetings with other lawmakers in an attempt to get more lenient treatment. Well, there are 9 names on the list, including 6 state senators. You'll recognize some of the names. Senator John Sampson, indicted just this week on charges that included embezzlement. And Senator Malcolm Smith, arrested last month after investigators say he tried to buy his way onto the ticket in the race for mayor in New York City. Also on the list, a former press advisor to Malcolm Smith, as well as a New York City councilman and a former associate with close ties to New York's Attorney General. It's our top story, and Capitol correspondent Pat Bailey is all over it. He joins us live tonight from our Albany bureau with more. Pat?
Liz, here is what is clear. There are 9 people former Senator Shirley Huntley had recorded conversations with. The U.S. Attorney's Office tried to keep those names sealed because 8 of them are under investigation. What we don't know is which of the 9 are under investigation or for what. But by doing simple math, that means at least 5, possibly 6 state senators are being investigated, and that means as many as 4 new state senators are under investigation by federal authorities. Shortly after former Senator Shirley Huntley was arrested, she cut a deal with federal officials to wear a wire and hold conversations with 9 specific people. It is unclear why these 9 were targeted, but court papers show Huntley had them to her Queens home for conversations. They are Senator John Sampson of Brooklyn, Senator Malcolm Smith of Queens, Senator Eric Adams of Brooklyn, Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson of the Bronx, Senator Jose Peralta of Jackson Heights, and Senator Velmanette Montgomery of Brooklyn, along with 2 aides to former state lawmakers and a current New York City councilman. Court documents state 8 of these 9 are under investigation by the feds, but it's unclear who and for what. However, late Wednesday, New York City Councilman Ruben Willis sent an email to the media stating that he was contacted by federal officials and was told he is not under investigation. That means 4 new state senators are being looked at by federal officials over and above Senators Smith and Sampson, who already have been charged. Governor Cuomo says there is no better example as to why ethics reform needs to happen this year.
I think it makes it clearer that if the legislature wants to respond to the times, they should pass a real reform agenda, pass a real reform package that does things that needed to be done anyway for many, many, many years.
But it has been held up and continues to get held up despite the allegations against state lawmakers. The governor says there are many reasons for that, including many ideas that not all parties and branches of state government can agree on. And with just 6 weeks left in this year's session, time is ticking.
I'm not willing to let the session conclude without a response to what has come up.
Now, Liz, just before I went on the air, I got an email from Senator Eric Adams, and I'll read part of it to you. It says, I have not been contacted by any investigators, and I am willing to help with any investigation. That coming from Senator Eric Adams. Now, the big question that remains is this. What are the 8 people the feds are looking at under investigation for? Unfortunately, that is the big question that we just do not know the answer to. Now, ironically enough, today, the New York State Assembly canceled their session, and instead, each party of the Assembly went into separate ethics training courses that lasted most of the morning, Liz.
That is an interesting development. You were mentioning, Pat, that the governor doesn't want to see the session end without some kind of ethics reform, but let's say that did happen. What then?
While the governor does have something in his back pocket, he does have the power to sidestep the legislature and enact a Moreland Commission if he chooses to. Now, the commission would either be made up of a person or persons who would have full power, subpoena power, to look into the matter of ethics and corruption in Albany statewide, possibly. However, an administration official today told me that that is a last resort. The governor really wants the legislature to act now on ethics reform.
All right, and I would guess we'll have a clearer idea of when that's going to happen, if it does, in the next few days or so.
Quite possibly. 6 weeks left in this legislative session.
All right, thanks, Pat.